11 p.m. and these are the headlines. The President of the Republic receives the Secretary General of the General Union of Algerian Workers, Ammar Takjout. The two parties discuss the role of work unions in promoting social dialogue. And the President of the Republic dismisses Finance Minister Aziz Faid and Minister Delegate for Pharmaceutical Production Fouad Haji and appoints Abdelkarim Bouzerd as Finance Minister and Wassim Khouidri as Minister of Pharmaceutical Industry. In an interview with the French newspaper L'Opinion, the President of the Republic addresses relations with France and several current national and international issues. And in implementation of the instruction of the President of the Republic, Algeria is communicating with a number of African countries involved with the conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Protected wetlands for our common future was the motto this year to celebrate World Day of Wet Zones and opportunity to highlight Algeria's 50 Ramsar listed sites. Welcome back, everyone. First of all, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, has dismissed Finance Minister Aziz Faid and the Minister Delegate for Pharmaceutical Production Fouad Haji. He appointed Abdelkarim Bouzerd as the new Finance Minister and Wassim Khouidri as Minister of Pharmaceutical Industry. And today, always, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received the Secretary General of the General Union of Algerian Workers, Ammar Takjout, along with the delegation accompanying him. The audience, which took place at the headquarters of the Presidency of the Republic, was attended by the Principal Private Secretary to the President of the Republic, Boualam, and the Advisor to the President of the Republic in charge of the General Directorate of Communication, Canal. After meeting with the President Abdelmajid Tebboune, the Secretary General of the General Union of Algerian Workers said discussions focused on labor matters, the role of trade unions in advancing social dialogue, and key social concerns. Let's have a listen.
The discussions we held with the President of the Republic addressed a variety of important topics related to the world of work, union work, the role of unions and workers within the society, and its role in promoting social dialogue. Social questions were also evoked related to workers active within the public services, notably education and health. We've discussed questions related to economy, industry, agriculture, unemployment, problems faced by the youth, and the unemployment allowance. The President reaffirmed that the objective of all the mechanisms put in place is to create job positions for the benefit of young people and encourage them to create small enterprises. As for us, we presented our vision. We've confirmed that we share the same one with the President of the Republic and are at the same level of understanding when it comes to the necessity of reinforcing the internal front for the protection of the country, as well as the necessity to teach the youth from our experience, to approach them and offer them more opportunities in the world of work, while encouraging them to participate in the political and social life. It is our responsibility to protect our country and actively participate in its construction.
هذه الأشياء هذه كله تكلمنا عنها واستخلصنا بأن بلادنا علينا أن نحميها احنا عليها احنا اللي نعاونوها احنا اللي نخدموها واحنا اللي نكونوا المخرج إن شاء الله للبلاد تاعنا.
In an interview with the French newspaper L'Opinion, President Abdelmajid Tebboune addressed relations with France and several current national and international issues. In the interview, the President mentioned that he had warned President Macron about the significant error he would make regarding the Western Sahara issue. He also stated that Algeria would be ready to normalize relations with Israel the same day a fully sovereign Palestinian state is established. Furthermore, the President emphasized that he has no intention of remaining in power and will respect Algerian constitution. Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, and as part of implementing the instructions of President Abdelmajid Tebboune, reached out today to several of his African counterparts from countries involved in the conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo, as well as those engaged in mediation efforts to promote a peaceful resolution to the crisis. The statement of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs emphasized that this initiative is in line with Algeria's role as a non-permanent member of the UNSC and reflects the country's constant commitment to contributing effectively to efforts aimed at strengthening peace and security across the continent while maintaining strong relations between African nations. In this regard, the State Minister discussed during phone talks with his counterparts from the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda the ways and means to halt the serious escalation of the conflict in the eastern DRC and pave the way for renewed and effective political process to reach a final solution. The minister has also had phone talks with his counterparts from Angola and Kenya, commending their continued commitment to resolving the crisis through the process of Rwanda and the one of Nairobi. According to the statement, Attaf reiterated Algeria's full support and readiness to assist in efforts to restore peace and security in the Democratic Republic of Congo and the entire Great Lakes region as well. The minister has also spoke with his counterparts from South Africa and Uganda, agreeing on the need for greater diplomatic efforts among all active players in the continent to create an environment of calm and wisdom in line with the mediation efforts to resolve the conflict. Attaf and all his African counterparts welcomed the initiative by the East African Community and the Southern African Development Community to organize a joint summit in the coming days on the crisis, deemed as an opportunity to work towards a ceasefire and lasting peace in the region. France's colonial rule in Côte d'Ivoire was another systematic effort to impose domination, identity and enforce dependence, but resistance ultimately proved that freedom should be fought for. Najih Tayar.
Despite the inevitable tide of history, France stubbornly clung to its colonies, refusing to acknowledge that no people can be enslaved indefinitely. France's campaign in Côte d'Ivoire was merely an act of expansionism, but means of enforcing the colonial domination through repression and oppression. However, and in response to this relentless grip, France encountered fierce and unwavering resistance.
Any discussion of France and its former colonies in Africa remains known by a past marked by multiple injustices.
France also imposed a culture of dependence through education, administration and economics, pushing the local languages and traditions aside in favor of the French culture, aimed at erasing the Ivorian identity and its cultural markers.
School curricula designed by the colonizer himself glorified colonization. We were immersed in a narrative shaped by the colonizer, dictating our perception of history through teaching. At school, everything was done to force us to think and speak in French. If a classmate caught you speak your mother tongue, he would denounce you.
No matter how long the struggle lasts, freedom remains the inevitable destiny of any nation that fights for it. The war waged by France in Côte d'Ivoire was yet another chapter in the history of colonial domination. Also, it proved the failure of an imperialist project incapable of understanding that the will of the people is stronger than any occupation.
And the French far right continues its escalation with statements that praise colonialism, trying to make of Algeria a political opportunity to lay the foundations of her political racist agenda. Rania Al-Bahri.
In a recent interview, Marine Le Pen, who some analysts see as a danger to France, continues to make controversial statements focusing mainly on Algeria. She claimed that French colonization in Algeria was good for the country, particularly in terms of infrastructure and economic development. This view shows the ongoing denial in far-right circles, trying to hide the violence, exploitation and brutal treatment Algerians suffered under colonial rules. These political groups try to paint a picture of colonization as something positive, ignoring the painful reality of colonial crimes. But history is clear. Colonization was a system of oppression with terrible effects on local people, and it remains a painful part of Algeria's memory.
La conquête de l'Algérie par l'armée.
This denial from the extreme right isn't just about ignorance of history. It's a deliberate attempt to restore a colonial past full of injustice and violence by praising this period. They are pushing a nationalist ideology that disregards the suffering of those who lived through it.
And today, the Minister of War Veterans and Rights Holders, Al-Eid Rabiga, chaired a meeting in Algiers with the commission in charge of preparing for the 65th anniversary of the French nuclear explosions in the Algerian Sahara. Rabiga urged the National Commission to develop comprehensive national programs that highlight colonial crimes, emphasizing the importance of using available documents to affirm that the nuclear explosions are crimes that cannot be subject to limitations. The minister stressed the importance of national attention to this painful commemoration, calling for involvement from all sectors and civil society to reveal the atrocities committed by the French colonizer against both the land and people of the Algerian Sahara, using all means of destruction, including those prohibited internationally. Regional news now focusing on sustainable water security. Bashar's wastewater treatment plant comes to solve a huge problem in the province. With its capacity of 55,000 cubic meters per day, it ensures high-quality water and supports the sustainable development. Najah Tayyar explains it all.
Bashar's fifth-generation wastewater treatment plant is a 100% Algerian success story, providing real added value for the region's inhabitants and economy. Treating more than 10,000 cubic meters of water per day, it helps reducing water shortages, paving the way for sustainable development.
The Bashar wastewater treatment plant has a treatment capacity of over 55,000 cubic meters. It is equipped with a tertiary system that ensures high-quality water. The plant currently treats 10,500 cubic meters per day.
Samples are regularly taken and analyzed in the plant's laboratories to ensure that the produced water meets the required standards and maintains its quality.
The plant is equipped with two laboratories, one dedicated to physical-chemical analysis and the second to bacteriological analysis.
The plant operates optimally and sustainably thanks to the dedication of control and maintenance teams consisting of engineers and technicians who are mobilized 24 hours a day to ensure its performance. We monitor all the equipment we have here. This is done in coordination with the laboratory in order to adapt the machines settings if necessary. In addition, we have worked with the maintenance manager to prevent any problems that might arise in the station or with equipment and quickly provide the appropriate solutions.
Monitoring is carried out by patrols present 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In particular, we monitor the lubrication levels of equipment, which must be regularly greased.
Built to meet the current environmental standards, this water infrastructure will eliminate pollution in Wet Bashar Basin. The treated water and sludge are then used to irrigate agricultural areas and supply the local industrial units, providing a significant boost to the province's development.
And in other news, the Algiers Airport Services and Infrastructure Management Company has announced that the upcoming opening of currency exchange offices will facilitate Algerian travelers access to the tourist allowance when traveling abroad. The exchange offices managed by the Bank of Algeria will be located in the restricted areas of the boarding halls at Terminal West and Terminal 1, Hall 2. And to the education sector now, the ministry has kicked off a series of meetings today to prepare for the 2025-2026 school year, introducing a new timetable across all education levels. Minister Mohammed Saghir Sadawi emphasized the importance of ensuring the necessary conditions for staff to perform their duties. He also highlighted that the reduction of working hours will be a participatory process, with the new schedule set to take effect at the start of the next school year. The operation to pay the pilgrimage fees for the 2025 season was launched today and will run until February 28th. The National Office for the Pilgrimage and Umrah urged eligible citizens who have obtained the required certificates of success for the Hajj rights and good health certificate to visit the branches of the Bank of Algeria in their respective provinces to make the payment. The workshop organized by the National Agency for Broadcasting and Advertising concluded today with the award ceremony recognizing the winning participants. A comprehensive business partnership was also established between the agency and the National Television Institution, and this in the presence of the Directors General of the two mentioned bodies and the representative of the Ministry of Communication. Social discontent in Morocco is witnessing an unprecedented pace as daily protests are occurring, denouncing living conditions, poverty and the human rights situation, especially with the shocking escalation of the Makhzen authorities against human rights activists and the restriction of freedom.
Trapped in the grip of the system, the average Moroccan citizen finds himself trapped in an undesirable situation, surrounded by neglect, a lack of job opportunities, high living costs, and the absence of support. On top of this, they suffer from the consequences of failed government policies, while the regime continues to tighten its grip on human rights activists and journalists.
We are fed up with arrests. Either things improve in Morocco regarding human rights or they just have to kill us. It's better than the humiliation we live through.
Amid the increase in pressure on activists and anyone who opposes or exposes the regime's violations, the Spanish newspaper The Confidential reveals the escape of the second in command of Morocco's intelligence services, Mehdi Hadjawi, who fled to Spain and then mysteriously disappeared, another scandal for the regime. Meanwhile, in the midst of this social crisis, the regime's bulldozers continue to demolish homes, forcing families out without explanation.
I've lived in this house for 38 years and now they've destroyed it. Where are we supposed to go?
At the same time, other citizens are having their properties taken and handed over to Zionists without any legal basis.
These 14 hectares are mine, and now a Jewish man comes with papers saying we built here illegally. More than 800 families are now at risk of living in the streets.
These practices have sparked widespread protests, especially those against normalization with the Zionists, along with boycotts of Zionist products. The BDS movement, which opposes normalization, praised the effectiveness of the boycott, stating that the voice of the people is stronger than any agreement.
Abbas Kampi Amanke Vilalba was recently prevented by Moroccan police from traveling to occupied Western Sahara with a parliamentary delegation to assess the human rights situation in the region. Vilalba condemned the heavy-handed expulsion by the Makhzen, reaffirming her solidarity with the Sahrawi people. Since 2014, over 300 media professionals, lawyers, human rights activists have been denied entry or expelled from their territory for attempting to investigate violations of international law. And in the occupied Palestinian territories, at least 5 Palestinians died in the West Bank. The Zionist entity destroyed entire residential buildings today, an unprecedented escalation at the city of Jenin in the occupied West Bank. And despite the ceasefire agreement in Gaza, a Zionist airstrike targeted the Nusayrat camp in the central area of the Strip, leading to the martyrdom of Palestinians, while bodies of 11 martyrs have been reported over the past 24 hours. The situation remains critical, with the population facing severe hardships. There is also an urgent need for sustained international efforts to provide humanitarian assistance and work towards a lasting resolution. Another news, this year's Wetlands Day was celebrated under the motto Protecting Wetlands, an occasion to highlight Algeria's rich network of these vital ecosystems, as it is a home for over 50 Ramsar listed sites internationally recognized. Minister Kabesh.
Algeria is in fact known for its diverse natural heritage, including wetlands that extend over a distance of 12 million hectares, from high plateaus to oases, vital ecosystems that plays a crucial role in regulating water resources and the climate change as well. With more than 50 classified on the Ramsar list for wetlands recognized for their international importance, including the El Qala wetlands being the first site to be classified in 1983, as it welcomes thousands of migratory birds each year, namely the iconic flamingo bird. And to protect these natural sites already threatened by urban development and climate change, measures are underway to better protect and restore these spaces. Clearly, these wetlands are indispensable for maintaining ecological balance. They rank among Earth's most biodiverse ecosystems, providing refuge for magnificent species. Therefore, protecting them is a must to guarantee their long-term viability.
And with the wetlands, we end today's edition. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.